what these scouts do, right? The scouts really, they're not putting their opinion really in on a kid they're evaluating, right? There are certain questions, and they're just going through and they're giving the information, and then they're giving that information to the GM,
and let them make the decision.
He looks through it, and then now, is there a scout that he might probably have a little more faith in than others and go, hey, is this?
You're the one that found Max Crosby. What do you got for me?
Yeah, but generally it's them just they have a boilerplate that they're just taking down the info. You know what I'm saying? And then that guy is going through and then reading that information.
As an intel analyst, former, they are compiling all the information. They are making the dossiers. They are making a kill package, for lack of better terms. They're making a kill package on each person, turning it over, pluses and minuses, statistics, weights, flags, things to look out for. Which is why Carter was not drafted last year over Wilson, because of the flags that are there. It's their job to get all of this information, to be the intel analyst, to make up a dossier, to make up a kill package, get the target package together, put it in one thing, and give it to the guys that are going to make the decisions. And that's where they rack and stack. Now they do individual rack and stacks. This is our opinion. It's up to the senior elements to say, we appreciate your opinion, but this is what we're going to do. And by the way, it is not Daddy's Raiders anymore, and this is true.
When I say go.
Al Davis, it didn't matter who the fuck the scouts said.
He's an example of that.
I was one of Al's picks.
Who the fuck the scouts said. Al had the first round, and you can kiss his ass out the door, because he was going to get his guy in the first round and a special person that he wanted.
Yeah, because they'll have everything, where these guys, again, for months before the draft, right? And they have where they're slotted and everyone's agreeing, and all of a sudden he'll walk in and go, "You're taking this guy," and they're like,
"Yeah." And they get the what the fuck thing
about scouts. Is I'm not into the next best player. He's the next best player. Let's take him. No. If he's not the next best player for us, I don't want him. Yeah. Right? I want the next best player for what we're doing, for what our coach's system entails. Right? I don't want to take a defensive end and try to move him to outside 3-4 linebacker. I'll take a kid who's a 3-4 linebacker right now in college who's doing it. I think he fits our system. But the whole thing of and people, and here's the deal, guys. A lot of GMs, they don't know what the hell they're doing, right? And there are different GMs or head coaches that'll purposely pump up guys. They don't want them
because they want them to go first, so someone else drops them.
Belichick, he loves us to do so. I don't want to be the dumbass that pass up on this guy.
They're just doing that. Sucker.
Yeah. And there's other guys. They don't. For instance, guys, for me, I had no communication with the Raiders. None. The only communication I had was at the combine in the meeting room or in the convention center. Willie Brown, and I didn't know who Willie Brown was at this time. I just remember this older black gentleman with he had his Raiders hat was like a straight bill here, and just had a sweatshirt on, and some like swishy warm up pants, and literally he's just going like this. All right, height, your name, address. Height, weight, 3 best games, 3 worst games. All right, thank you. I'm like, I'm definitely not going to fucking the Raiders. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. That was the only communication I had with them. That was it. Because guys are going to, when they got a guy they want, they're not going to sit there and highlight it because there's all these other guys going, who does Al Davis like? Who does Belichick like? Who are these guys looking at? You know what I'm saying? And and that's the thing for me is I want a guy that's that doesn't get caught up in that shit, right? Yeah. You know what? Those guys, yeah. Are they good? But they're not good for us and our team and what we're doing, right? And that's the one thing that I always get upset with when, but we grabbed him because he was. It's like,
but we don't need it. Yeah,
we don't need it.
Yeah. So from a draft philosophy standpoint, you don't believe in taking the best player available necessarily.
I don't.
That makes sense. Yeah,
I don't.
Especially if they don't fit this game.
Up, everyone was about Carter, right? Carter and Wilson.
Yeah.
Is it Jalen? No,
Jalen Carter.
Carter and Tyree Wilson. Yeah.
So I looked at their stats because I got in an argument with a guy yesterday on well, shit, we were talking about it, Chris, I think, right? Carter finished with 33 tackles and 6.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Wilson finished with 29 tackles and 3.5 sacks. No. Yeah. Carter had 6 sacks, and I think Wilson had 3.5. And everyone's up in arms, and I'm going, I like Wilson. I do now that they moved him inside. He doesn't have issues off the field. Yep. Right? He's a guy that's going to fit our system better.
Yep. And Young, the guy that they got from Alabama a couple rounds later, had virtually the same stats that Carter did at Georgia in the SEC. And yes, I'm an SEC homer. That's my bias. I get it. I'm letting it out there. But he virtually had the same stats. Carter at UGA, Young at Alabama, DT, and we picked him up a round or two later.
When I gave those stats, when I gave those stats, Cap, those were stats
this year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you, but people were poo-pooing it.
Yeah.
At the time, they were poo-pooing it. I'm like, well, okay, he's not.
It's the better pick. It's the better pick for Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where
look what's happening.
And that's where, again, like Chris, with your show, everybody's talking. It's a more positive show, right?
Yeah.
Let's protect the shield, right?